Matthew Simmons is founder of the Ocean Energy Institute. He joins us on the phone. And Matt, thanks so much. Always good to talk to you again. I know you were hearing what Lizzie was saying.
Yeah.
Some of the information that I'm seeing here in our Bloomberg story, the pressure inside that well is now over 6,800 pounds per square inch since it was sealed on July 15th. Does that give you cause for concern?
No, it's a total diversion.
Why do you say that?
That's the gas condensate that was trapped in the drilling riser which blew off the wellhead at 10:01 a.m. or p.m. Central Standard Time on April 20th. That's a mile-long compressed natural gas. What we don't know anything about is the open hole, which is caused by the drill bit. When they tossed the blow-up preventer way out of the hole and all the casing out of the hole, and we're flowing 120,000 day minimum of toxic poison has now covered the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
So what they're talking about is the biggest environmental cover-up ever, and they knew that that well would that riser would finally deplete, and then they could say it's over, and unfortunately we now have killed the Gulf of Mexico.
So Matt, you're saying that this is Lizzie O'Leary. You're saying those pressure readings that they are saying are coming from inside that wellhead just aren't valid?
No, they're the riser pipe.
Right.
It's attached to the rig floor.
And you're saying that's simply a diversion from actually getting a decent reading down near...
Some 5 to 10 miles away is what the NOAA research vessels have now proved is a deep oil lake that's drilling by the day. And it's very toxic oil, and its gases are very lethal. And basically, if we have a hurricane now, we need to evacuate the Gulf Coast.
Matt, we have about 30 seconds left. Talk to me about the implications for BP. Is bankruptcy in their future? Is that something?
Listen, when people find out the magnitude of the story, I don't know we can technically clean up the Gulf, but it would cost at least $1 trillion.
As you look back, April 20th was when this accident happened. As you look back and reflect on this, what were your concerns about what BP did or did not do leading up to this explosion?
Well, first of all, when I woke up, when my wife turned on the television at 7 a.m. on the 21st, and I saw this shocking news that one of the greatest deep-water rigs ever built by one of the great companies in the industry and ocean was in the middle of this terrible fire. And then they said, this is a rig fire. This is the fuel on the rig. I know that there was 700 gallons of diesel on the rig, and I said, this is a lie. The Gulf of Mexico's on fire. Why are they saying this? For 2 days they kept saying it's a rig fire. When the rig sank, they could no longer call it a rig fire, so they said it's a riser leak.
Okay, so why did they say it?
Because if they'd said the truth, they'd all go to jail.
Huh. Just that simple.
Yeah, I mean, look at some of the testimony of the people, of the Transocean people who were pleading with them. Do not do this or we'll all die. And this little 32-year-old punk that pleaded the fifth yesterday for the second time, this is the first time he'd ever been a company man on an offshore rig, said it either my way or the highway.
You're talking about Robert Kaluza, the company man, who we should point out in these Coast Guard hearings, we have been supposed to hear from the company man on the rig twice. One has said he's been sick. The other has pleaded the fifth.
I think this is the second time this one guy's pleaded the fifth. I've never known his name.
Kaluza.
He was 32 years old, and he was the guy that invited his superiors to come on board for a party once they got to TD. So they were partying on the rig when the rig exploded, and they tried to blame Transocean on that.
Well, let me ask you then, because we've seen Transocean staff be named as parties of interest here.
No, they're parties of heroic. They need congressional medals of hero for this.
So you say the blame lies squarely with BP in this situation?
101%.
Matt, could I?
I'm really disgusted with other than John Hoffmeister, the retired president of Shell America. He's the only other person that I've seen in the industry that's been willing. Now, a lot of people would like to speak out, but they're under confidentiality agreements with BP.
Matt, could I ask you about the financial implications of this? Because you told Fortune magazine about a month after the spill that you started to short the stock.
Yeah,
Why?
You bet I did. Because I thought BP was going to go under. And when I read that, and I've been saying that for a month, and when I read that 20 of the 24 Wall Street analysts had buys, I said, that's ridiculous. I'm going to short them. I'd never shorted a stock in my life before.
So, Matt, have you gotten a little squeezed? It's Julie here. Have you gotten a little squeezed as the stock is now bounced off the bottom?
No, because I mean, I've got patience. It's going to go to 1.
So you still think it's going to go out of business?
They promised to clean up the Gulf. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how much that's going to cost if they can technically do it? Well over $1 trillion.
Matt, can we talk about the human toll of this? Because a lot of what gets lost in the discussion is that 11 people did lose their lives here.
Yeah.
I know your institute is doing something for the children of those who were lost.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
We've created a scholarship fund, and we love some publicity on this because there are 21 children who lost their dad. And they're all very young, so it'll be years from now before they're able to go to college, and by then we'll have totally forgotten about this. And so we're trying to make sure there's enough money in the scholarship fund for all of them to actually, go to any school of their choice.
Matt, we've been talking, and Lizzie's been obviously keeping us up to date. Now, getting back to what's going on with some of this oil, at least the report saying that the oil's not leaking. Does that give you hope that maybe a permanent solution is, in fact, in the offing?
No, because that's not the gusher. That was a little bit of condensate that would have ended anyway. There's no way to fix the gusher because there's no casing left in the hull other than doing a small diameter nuclear bomb and
I'm glad you brought that up because you advocated that before. Is that still your position that this well should have been blown up?
Because with no casing in the hull, the odds of the relief wells working are zero. What the relief wells do is if they can find the casing, they then cut a 4-inch hole with a specialty tool, and then you have something to capture the mud. With no casing in there, it would be like pouring oatmeal down a fire hydrant.
So you don't believe that they could, for example, fill the annulus, fill the casing, and have enough drilling mud to do it?
It's not there. It's scattered over the ocean floor. The government now have gamma ray images of the actual blowout preventer, which is 5 stories high, weighs 325 tons, and it has 2 sections of casing that pierce through 5 stories of metal.
Yeah. All right, Matt Simmons, he's the founder of the Ocean Energy Institute, joining us on the phone from Rockport, Maine. Matt, always good to have you on, and Lizzie O'Leary, always good to have you on as well. Thank you both so much.